What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty with the GoPro strapped to my head, and this is the 2025 Volvo V60 Cross Country. And I'm pretty excited today because I am quite the wagon guy, and this is one of the only kind of wagons left on the market. It's a shame, but the US just doesn't get the wagons that Europe and other countries do. But what we're going to do in this video is, of course, we're going to take it for a test drive, but I'll give you a quick features kind of walk around first. Now, up front, bright front grille, we've got the front camera, fog lights, LED headlights, all that good stuff. And we also have optional 19-inch wheels, pretty good looking on this car. Now, of course, the typical flat black that you see on kind of the off-road wagons like the Audi A4 All-Road and, of course, the V60 Cross Country. We have bright roof rails, nice panoramic roof system, and taking a look at our window sticker, this is a B5 Plus, so that'll be the trim and the engine. $55,025 for a total sticker price on this car. Now, once you get to the back, you of course see that wagon shape, which I personally love. You do have a nice little spoiler back here, and it's a really sharp looking wagon. Huge thanks to my friends at Valenti Volvo in Watertown, Connecticut for providing me with this car. Let's take a peek at the trunk, since this is where you would buy the V60 over the S60. Obviously more cargo space. Nothing particularly interesting back here, but we do have lots of grocery bag hangers, so you can fold down the seats. 60-40 split, and there's also a cargo pass-through, but it looks pretty good back here. Cargo tie-downs, illumination everywhere. Rear seats are plenty roomy, and we have the blonde interior, so kind of like an off-white or light gray interior, and we have the denim blue on the outside, so nice color combination on this car. I do apologize for the wind. We're just getting over a pretty nasty storm here in Connecticut. But sitting behind myself, I'm 5'10". I still have, you know, let's say 2-3 inches of leg room. Air vents on the B pillars, heated rear seats, and chargers for the rear, and not to mention this huge panoramic roof. Very solid door sounds. We have the Harman Kardon audio system in this car with 14 speakers, memory seats for the driver's seat, power folding mirrors, so nicely, very nicely equipped V60 Cross Country. And let's start it up using this unique start switch that Volvo has. All right, so here we are inside the V60 Cross Country. Now I'm going to kind of get this Google Maps going here so we can see what it looks like while we're driving. Just have to turn the vehicle's location on, then it'll pop up like we could see here. And seatbelt on, safety first. Let's take this V60 Cross Country for a test drive. All right, so now while we're on our way to the start of our test drive, I'll kind of give you a brief overview of what you could expect in this video. Now immediately we're gonna get it right onto a kind of main road, so we'll see what it's like, hopefully up at speeds of 45-50 miles an hour, and then for the remainder of the video we'll have it on a nice New England back road. We'll get an acceleration test. We'll also see what it's like in the turns, and it's also a pretty bumpy road, at least most of it is, and we'll see how it performs. It's been a while since I drove a V60 Cross Country, so this will be a nice reminder of what they're like. And immediately the Cross Country has a super comfy suspension. I mean, it is just borderline floaty, so it definitely rides really nice. A little bit of extra ground clearance too on the Cross Country models over the regular V60. since this is kind of like the more rugged, kind of outdoorsy version of the V60. But yeah, now that we have it up at, you know, somewhere between 45 and 50 miles an hour, it is very comfortable. Very, very comfortable and quiet too. Really the only noise I'm hearing is a little bit of whir from the tires and the air conditioning. There's really no wind noise at all up at this speed, at least. We have some oncoming traffic, so we'll take a listen. Yeah, wow, you really are pretty insulated from the outside world in the V60 cross country. You could barely hear any oncoming traffic at all. So that is pretty cool. Now we'll wait for this group of cars to move, and if nobody turns behind us on this right here, we'll get a quick 0 to 60 test. If there is some traffic behind us, we'll get it up to 25 and mash the throttle and see what happens for our acceleration test. Now there really isn't any sport mode or anything like that in this car, and it looks like nobody is behind us, so we'll do a quick stop, and here we go. Yeah, it's a pretty strong power delivery from this V60 cross country, and smooth too. We're working with a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder under the hood with a mild hybrid component, which produces 247 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. It's all hooked up to an 8-speed conventional automatic transmission and, of course, standard all-wheel drive. And it does a pretty nice job of moving out. So the 0 to 60 test was pretty quick. I believe 0 to 60 times officially from Volvo are about 6.4 seconds. So that's definitely no slouch. You know, it's not the fastest car in the world, definitely not the slowest. But yeah, pretty smooth and solid power plant for this car. And somebody doesn't know how to keep their lane. Interesting. You never know what you're gonna find on these one-take POV test drives here. Now at this point, I should mention, if you've made it this far in the video, I have done a full features review on this very car. So if you would like, you can either wait to the end of the video and check out that link there, or you could just head on over to my channel Ty Drives to check that out. I believe I mentioned that before, but hey, what's a second time there? This is probably the most rough section of our test drive. I mean, the road is not the nicest taken care of, but really very comfortable suspension from the V60 cross country. It really does absorb, you know, quite a bit of these bumps unless they're pretty large, and it does a very nice job at remaining comfortable inside here. Now, we just drove the 2025 Volvo XC40, so for 1 point, if you're interested in seeing that video, you could certainly check that out. But to compare it to this vehicle, which is only about $5,000 more expensive, you know, as equipped than the XC40 was, I personally think you get a lot more for your money with this car. You know, the XC40 is smaller, of course, than this car. And a plus to me is it still drives like a sedan. It's a little bit raised up because it's the cross-country version, but you get the room of an SUV, which is great. And it also seems to drive a little bit nicer. It definitely rides nicer, definitely a bit more quiet in the cabin. There's not as much noise from the tires, the wind, even the engine is quieter in this car, even though it's effectively the same engine. So to me personally, if I had to choose whether to purchase an XC40 or the V60 cross country, I'd definitely take this one. You know, it also, I'm a little bit biased because I am a wagon lover, but I think you just get a bit more refinement, I should say, for your money with this car. And just cruising around the back roads of New England, it is certainly a cruiser. I could definitely tell you that. Another thing I'd like to point out too on a test drive is the comfort of these seats is impeccable. It kind of supports you in any way possible, and it's just a very comfortable seat to be in. I could imagine myself taking this for a trip out to California and not being uncomfortable whatsoever. It feels pretty good around the corners. There's obviously some body roll because it's a little bit taller of a vehicle, and very soft suspension for sure, but it does pretty well around the corners. And that pretty much wraps up our POV test drive of the 2025 Volvo V60 Cross Country. By now, the link for the in-depth features review should be popping up for you. So make sure you click that and check that out. But to end, thank you very much for watching. I hope you catch us next time on Tie Drives.